Everybody, in this video I'm just going to share my first impressions with the pre-alpha playtest of Valor Mortis. So the footage you're going to see here is again from a pre-release version of the game. It doesn't represent the final quality. So, well, what is Valor Mortis? Well, this is an upcoming Souls-like action RPG game, and what makes this one immediately different compared to many other Souls-like games is that this one plays in first-person perspective. And this is from the same developer, One More Level, that developed the game Ghost Runner. It describes this: rise from the dead as a former soldier of Napoleon's army, wield supernatural powers, battle horrifying monsters, and unravel a conspiracy that threatens all of humanity. So already, when it comes to the theme, kind of alternate reality, it's incredible. The footage you're going to see here is running with NVIDIA DLSS, frame generation, and also ray tracing at highest graphics setting, which is epic. So it combines Souls-like difficulty and kind of Bioshock style abilities, even a bit of parkouring, and also kind of Metrovania type of exploration, because once you unlock certain abilities, you'll be able to access certain areas that before they weren't accessible to you. You're going to see it in this demonstration. So it seems like the game is inspired from many other Souls-like. It feels Bloodborne in a way, especially once you get the pistol, you're going to see it, but also the atmosphere, and also a bit Sekiro with the perfect parry, which is very important in this game, because there's a stagger bar where you can actually stagger enemies, and you get lots of stagger if you're able to perfect parry enemies. You can dodge to different directions, you can block, you can backstab, you have melee and range attacks, you have the healing potions you can see here. You have the checkpoints where again you use the checkpoint, enemies respawn, and you also get your health potions back. And also this purple bar gonna replenish. This is for using your supernatural transmutation, as it's called in the game, abilities. The game, by the way, is planned to be released in 2026, well, according to the release date on Steam, for Xbox, PlayStation 5, and Steam. Yeah, so also parry in the game, as I mentioned. You also have backstab, we're going to see in a moment. Everything here feels so much more personal, and it's really exciting, and designed it with that way, especially in boss fight. You're going to see it later on. So you have your R2. I'm playing with the controller. So if you quick press, R2 is just regular attack. If you hold it, it's going to be heavy attack. And if you want to backstab, just regular attack. Now, if you block, you're going to get damage. There's also an option in the skill tree to reduce the damage you're actually getting by blocking, but you really want to parry. When you parry, you can see you have your endurance, basically stamina. And everything you do, attack, dodge, block, and sprinting, all of these consume endurance. So if you parry, it won't consume actually endurance, and you won't actually even get damage, and it allows you also to kind of punish back enemies. Now, the most important thing is that when you parry, it also significantly increases the stagger you do on enemies, which is the white bar beneath their health bar. The red health bar, so the white bar is the one that for the stagger. And once you get it to the max, it's going to stagger enemies, and it can also stagger bosses, so it works both on regular enemies and bosses. Like good old Souls-like, you're going to find different things, some of them related to lore, like you see here, and other items for upgrading. There's also resources, the bottom right you can actually see. This is kind of crystals, I forgot the exact name. Anyway, this is the one, like other Souls game, that is a currency that is used to upgrade your character, and in order to do that, you need to get, of course, more, and you get it by, eliminating enemies. Even bosses, by the way, if you repeat boss fights, you're going to get more. So you can still continue and progressing and upgrading while actually just finding the same boss, at least, again, based on the playtest. And when you actually die, you again need to go and collect it. And if you die again and you haven't collected the resources, you're going to lose them. You also have the option to lock on enemies with R3, which is great, of course. Many Souls-like have this option. If not, all of them that I played from what I can recall. Now, one thing that worried me, by the way, when it comes to first-person perspective is, first of all, things regarding, well, because the field of view is limited compared to third-person, how I can actually deal with multiple enemies. I mean, what happens if somebody goes behind me, right? I can see it. In third-person, I can actually have better understanding of what's actually happening around me. So it designed well in that aspect. So it doesn't really kind of, it seems based on the, again, playtest, it doesn't overwhelming you with enemies. And usually the kind of position allows you to reposition yourself based on the design, at least of the levels, to reposition yourself carefully when you're fighting several enemies. I'm pretty sure that it will be some kind of combination that will challenge you. But in most of the time in the playtest, it wasn't really any issue when it comes to positioning and missing something because of the limited field of view that felt frustrating. So early on, you're going to see we're going to unlock our pistol. This is for the offhand, left hand. And this is good for, first of all, you can deal damage. You can also eat weak points of enemies. You can deal massive damage to them. It also allows you to unlock certain locations that otherwise weren't accessible to you. It also had its own resource, which actually in boss fight is actually falls down, so you can actually collect it. So you never kind of really totally run out of bullets. You can just roam around and collect bullets, which is cool. Well, it seems that it's balanced right overall. And there's some things you can see that you can shoot environmental objects that allows you to get access to certain other areas, like you're going to see in a moment. Now, once this is done, by the way, if you die, it doesn't matter. This actually stays, fixed. So you already got it down. It's going to stay down, so you don't need to do it again. Here, by the way, you can see enemies with weak points. It's kind of orange. Massive damage and stagger damage as well, by the way. Not just, forgot to mention also great stagger damage. So lots of benefits actually using the pistol. The environment is just beautiful. Looks very, let's say, organic. Of course, lots of imperfections, everything that makes things look, really, unique, frightening, mysterious. This is the parkouring part. I know it's kind of weird when you see something like that in first person in Souls-like, but it actually works well. Doesn't feel clunky or anything like that. Again, just not everything is from the pre-alpha and subject to change, of course, when the final game arrives. So this is your, resting point. All right. And basically this kind of like bonfire, lamp, sight of grace, sculpture idols, stargazers, depend on the games you are playing, or in Immortal Shell is a sister Genesa, something like that. So it's the same thing here. It allows you to upgrade, even travel, by the way, because as I mentioned, this is kind of some Metroidvania elements. So if you get certain abilities and you want to go back and unlock certain areas that were locked, you can travel to a certain location, which is actually not available right now in the playtest. It also allows you to upgrade and replenish your health, and toggle bin, which is again the purple one that is used for your special transmutation abilities. So if you die, you're going to respawn in the checkpoint. As you can see, you have your stats, statistics, and skill tree. You're going to kind of fill in until you unlock the more right columns by just investing in the previous column. And at the most bottom, you have the place for putting perks. These are passive abilities. Maybe some of them are going to be active, I don't know. But from what I found, these are passives. You can slow them in. You have different options. You're going to find them in chests around the world. This again as the alpha, maybe in bosses later on. And it can be very, very powerful and very useful to use. For example, one thing was just, I can't really use my healing potion, and everything I actually hit with my melee, I replenish health. There's one that stops time when I'm actually aiming with my pistol, and so on. So these are unblockable attacks. Basically, you can block them. If there's red, you can block them. Again, things that are similar to some other Souls-like games. Let's check it out. So in this case, I missed and I got hit. But you can dodge it. If you by the way, dodge it at the right time, you have perfect dodge. So it's actually kind of slowed down a bit, and you can punish the enemy. And also, if I'm not wrong, it actually replenish your endurance as well. So you can just quickly follow up with lots of attacks. Pretty cool. So this is the moment where we get our first transmutation ability. It allows us to use fire, both for dealing damage to multiple enemies in a cone and damage over time. And also unlock certain areas that were previously blocked. So now I just want to show you that I'm going back, I'm backtracking. This is why I told you kind of Metrovania type of elements, that some areas are locked. So you can just go back to the world. It's not like you pass it, you're never going to go back. You're going to go back. This is, by the way, the damage over time. Damage and damage over time. It's also stagger enemies, so they won't attacking you while start getting the damage over time. So it seems. And just one tap. And we can go in and we find chests. In the chest, we're going to find this perk that allows us to, slot it in the skill tree. So this is just one of them. You're going to find more as you continue and explore the world. So this is a good thing because it makes exploration more exciting, by the way. Maybe some people say, the game uses many of the elements that, I already seen people complaining about the game's identity. I actually don't think it's a bad thing. I actually think that actually make the game more exciting to play. And they actually, when you combine different elements that actually work well for the game, I mean, why not? And actually I have no problem with these mechanics because they just work well for the game. I mean, the parry mechanics, the sidearm, exploring other areas that previously were inaccessible. The skill tree is, as you can see, is relatively limited. Same goes to the stats. So I want to see how it actually goes. Again, this is pre-alpha, all right, so things are subject to change, but you see that overall, based on what I see here, is pretty much limited in the different options. But just so you know, in many other Souls-like, you don't really have lots of these things. Some of them are just based on the items that you find in the world. So I didn't see anything regarding scaling when it comes to certain items or weapons. So we need to see how it works. It seems more like a combination of Bloodborne and Sekiro type of game. We need to see if you're going to find, I don't know, upgrades for your weapon and stuff. We don't have any information. I mean, based on at least based on my experience with the playtest, I didn't find anything that suggests that it's going to be something like that. We need to wait and see. The reason I'm saying that because there are only several limited amount of slots that you can have. So I'm pretty sure there's going to be more weapons available. But these are kind of unique ones for the slots. Because you don't have like unlimited amount, because I've seen this based on the weapon wheel. So I think you're going to just find unique weapons. They're just going to stay throughout the game, and you're just going to have different things that are going to synergize with them and make them more powerful. But again, I'm just assuming here, not 100% sure. So you see me unlocking something with the fire, the transmutation ability. I also went even further back to unlock a certain area that when I use my pistol, it allows me to get access to another area where it's kind of a tough little enemy. Actually killed me like 2 times. And you can actually find more items there as well. I'm just going to skip it real quick, and you can see this is the place. You can see you shoot it, and another area is exposed. Now parrying it seems like it's imperative in this game. You don't even need to just hit enemies, you can just focus on just blocking them, and you're gonna get such a huge advantage, just staggering them and dealing damage. So it seems like it kind of similar to Sekiro. It's gonna be very important part of the game.
Never inquire as to its contents. Perfect soldier's epitaph.
So that's another perk which you can use in the skill tree to slot it in. And of course there are different slots, and the more you upgrade the tree, the more you invest points, the more you unlock the other columns and the option to slot in more of these, I don't know how to call them. Just call them perks. So what I'm trying to say is that when it comes to exploration, usually in some Souls-like games that are more tight and not open world, exploration isn't exciting in many cases. But here it seems just use it in order to make exploration more exciting. So all for it. Just a bit about the skill tree, for example. Some of the powerful things that allows you to increase the amount of stagger you actually deal. So I think it's like 5 times you can invest it and 6% each, so 30% extra stagger, which is pretty crazy when you actually perfect parry, or not perfect parry, just parry. You can see resources. Again, these are the, oh yeah, it's called Catalyst. Catalyst cloth, and basically you can just use it. You don't lose it. This is kind of resource. Same goes to many other Souls-like. You don't lose if you die, and you can just use it just in case, you know, in any case you want it, like upgrading, for example, and just missing like a few, maybe hundreds. You can just pop it out and use it. I'm also going to show you quickly the weapon wheel. This is why I mentioned before. The weapon wheel is kind of limited in the amount of what you have. So I think it's just kind of fixed weapons are going to be there. You're going to see it in a moment. I'm going to change it. You can hold Y and choose, or you can just press Y and going to switch to the next one. But of course, once we have many, it's better to just, you know, use the weapon wheel. You can see why it's so strong against several enemies. So if you are overwhelmed, well, there are ways to actually deal with several enemies. And of course, you can just reposition yourself and just let enemies kind of cramp up together and then deal with them, which is another option with the ability and of course your repositioning to deal with several enemies at the same time. So the game seems to give you the tools to deal with it, considering of course the limited field of view that you have compared to a third-person perspective. Now we're going to see me slotting in the this perk. So I've, oh, Ambers. Ambers, it's called Ambers. Ah, now I see it. I'm just editing the video. It's called Ambers. All right, so I chose one. This allows you to slow down time when aiming with a pistol. Amazing. It's very useful to hit those hit points the right moment. The reason I'm saying that, in boss fight, for example, they can have it, they can turn around, there's something behind the leg which is a weak point, but they turn around fast. So you just stop time, hit this little pixel, and you know, get it done. The purple there, by the way, is for the charging your resource for the transmutation. Beautiful, very, very immersive, very mysterious because of the atmosphere and, you know, sometimes the fog and everything. The design well. The blue one, by the way, is for the lore. You can see some, you know, memories from past events. The areas are not really kind of noodle-like, completely noodle-like. You can actually kind of find some places you can actually roam a bit more open, like this area. So think about it's more like kind of a Lies of P, I think, when it comes to level design.
What were they keeping in these cages?
And because, of course, the world is gloomy, you can easily spot things, especially weak points and other items, which also makes particle effects, everything that's kind of highly saturated, colorful, very easily pop up against the more desaturated background, which is cool. Look at that. Environmental hazard, but again, to get the enemy and then being able to climb on top and get this enemy away. Cool. Cool reloading animation. You can also reload, by the way, by pressing X to reload your pistol. You also have other items. The other one that I have in the middle is actually allows me to put more bullets into the magazine, so I can use it and recharge the pistol. Alright, moving a bit forward, again this is another area you can see that you can just shoot and access. Hopefully the other ones will be more hidden and cryptic because I like finding hidden areas. We'll see how it goes. Usually when it's kind of more clamped, it's pretty easy to find anything, but we'll see. As long as, this is why backtracking seems more kind of a good way, because you just go back and try to find areas. Oh right, actually was there, I couldn't access, and there's something really great there. So you can revisit these areas. I wonder if they did something with revisiting areas where maybe some enemies will change, maybe it's going to be like more transformation to the world. It makes it more interesting to backtrack. We'll see. This is something you can see that you are facing multiple enemies. It actually locks you at the back and forces you to face 3 enemies at the same time. In this case, the enemies are not so aggressive, but you can see they designed it well in terms of how enemies approach you. So I think when it comes to first-person perspective limitation, of course they designed it well to face the first-person perspective, but I think they done an incredible job with it, because I didn't feel like something really bothered me or felt frustrating or anything. Now, I didn't find any like actual shortcut, although there are shortcuts here in the game. Like, for example, when I died, I was able to just jump above the bridge that I actually broke and I fell down, able to jump on top of it. And the area that I unlocked before, you know, with the hard enemy, with the chest, there's a way to just go around and quickly go and skip the enemies on the left. But this is something more organic to the exploration, but I didn't find like any, let's say, a ladder or anything there that I need to kick or just pull down in order to have, you know, access. I believe this will be eventually in the game, but not something that I've seen in the playtest of the alpha, pre-alpha playtest. Here I'm actually getting an item for, this is a flask, another flask, so I have 4. An NPC that asked me to find my commander. Also, like in terms of level design, they play a bit with verticality, which is cool. So I really like that as well. It doesn't feel flat. Beautiful, very atmospheric. Amazing, it just looks amazing. Again, this is a highest graphic setting with ray tracing. Same goes to the sound effects, by the way. Creepy. And one last thing I want to show you and talk about is the boss fight. Actually, the footage where I actually failed. But you can see that it's very well designed. First of all, there's the intro, as we can expect. It's beautifully done. This is the area before the boss. You have, as you can see, also you have the checkpoint very close to the boss fight, which is great. I don't like traveling a lot just to get to a boss fight, so it's very close. Hopefully this will stay the same in, when the game is released for other bosses.
What the bloody hell is that?
Anyway, fantastic intro. So as you can see, weak points. You can hit the weak points. That's why slow motion is important. And actually very useful here. This is the red one. You cannot dodge. You can see it behind it. You see? I missed. But if you have the slow-mo, you can actually pause at the right time and actually hit it. You see? And hit it at the right time. So this actually emblem was actually very useful. Staggering. Look how personal it feels. It's amazing. That moment just told me, oh my god, first person Souls-like is insane. Now everything about the combat is just perfect for first person perspective. The most important thing, by the way, is that I haven't mentioned before, is the attacks are telegraphed well to the player in first person perspective. I mean, we know in many other Souls-like game, even in third-person perspective, you can get to a point where you can actually see the attacks and it can be very frustrating. In this case, it kind of also feels like kind of a wide-angle camera. You can see with the field of view. Designed well to capture both the size of the boss. It's big, but still, you can clearly see the attacks. So this is really, really important for the game and done so well. In this case of this boss fight. So I'm quite positive that's going to be the case when the game is released for other bosses. So this is a two-phase boss fight. Straight from the get-go. You can cancel abilities, as you can see, with the gun, which is also a cool mechanic. And you also spawn some minions. I mean, for the first boss, this is just crazy. You can see the bullets on the ground, the yellow one. These are bullets, as I told you, it kind of drop. And you can see also both for the purple one, you can get it to charge it up. It's not like you're getting out of it. Because you're actually hitting the weak points, I think, you get more of it. So this is generating. Not sure, by the way, about the bullets, but I think it's also you're gonna get them as well. You can see that after I'm stabbing, I continue and slashing to maximize the amount of damage. I mean, considering this is the first boss, it has lots of moves. Some of them, by the way, you don't see here. It's like something that you can hit me from far. It's like some really... quite a lot of moves. You can also hear that the sound effects are perfect. Even if you kind of lose a bit of track of what's going on, which actually doesn't happen, but you can still hear it. You know something is coming. Because the attacks are done with the entire motion of the body, so you can clearly see what's coming at you. Now look at that, it actually allows you to shoot from the back if you're at the back, look. Those little things matter. Yes, so overall I'm very impressed. Again, just know this is a pre-alpha test version of the game, and you know, just imagine how the full game will be. This is another move, by the way, the boss catches you and just shoots you. Can't do anything about it. Yeah, eventually it failed. Nonetheless, overall I'm very impressed with the test and I'm looking forward to play the full game. Feels different, feels unique, a combination of different mechanics from many other games that feel that they actually fit well together. I don't think they actually there's anything like, you know, they lost, you know, focus on what they want to be. I mean, in terms of identity, it actually feels that it comes well together to bring something that feels unique and fun. Thanks for watching.